Welcome to the Weekend Focus that comes to you on every Sunday at 9 p.m. My name is John Matava once again. And of course, right here we discuss issues that happened throughout the week, and top among them, we'll be looking at the fake fertilizer fumble, illicit brew crackdown in the country, and of course, NTSA crackdown as well, and the doctor strike that is getting in the 17th day. And of course, with me in studio to break it down for you viewer, and especially on the fake fertilizer fumble, with me in studio is Silas Ruto, who is the Shangi Potato Ambassador. Will be giving much details on the fake fertilizer, what it means to the viewers, and what are the repercussions of this, maybe farmers if they are able to use them. And of course, we'll be looking much into that. To first start with it, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi maintains that the fake fertilizers being distributed to farmers across the country are a mere propaganda from the opposition team, urging farmers not to be misled. His remarks comes at a time when the Senate Committee on Agriculture summoned him to appear before it as it seeks to unravel the fertilizer puzzle. And of course, from Nakuru County, police have seized 560 bags of suspected fake fertilizer worth 1.4 million Kenyan shillings. Lawmakers highlight farmers' risk as well of purchasing fake fertilizer ahead of the planting roll that is coming in this season. And again, the Kenya Bureau of Standards, that is KEBS, has confirmed fake subsidized fertilizer is on the market, and farmers need to be vigilant on the same. And so far, we're saying 5,840 bags of the alleged fake fertilizer have been impounded by the police. That will be a topic that will be getting much deeper into that. Going forward, the illicit brew crackdown in the country, over 100,000 liters of illicit brew have been destroyed, and several people arrested since the crackdown began in the country. Interior CS Kindiki and his counterpart has ordered a continuous crackdown on the illicit brew in the whole country, assuring that the operation will be permanent and no drop or scaling down on the same. And so far, over 1,000 liters so far on the illicit brew destroyed, and several people have been arrested. Detectives in Kitengela recently nabbed 810 liters of ethanol, fake Kenya Revenue Authority stamps as well, and so far 18,650 unlicensed liquor joints closed in the ongoing crackdown in the country. And as well as CS Kindiki has ordered a continuous crackdown on the illicit brew as well. Moving forward on the NTSA crackdown, more than 1,000 vehicles were nabbed this week, Wednesday, during the countrywide crackdown that was ongoing for 6 days now, that was launched by the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, in conjunction with the National Police Service, that is NPS. The crackdown comes as part of the new reforms instituted in the sector by the Transport Cabinet Secretary, Kipchumba Murkomen, and his counterpart Interior CS Kindiki. And so far figures show January to March, 1,026 lives were lost from road carnages, and there is a fatal accident in Maungu that claimed the lives of 11 Kenyatta University students and leaving others 42 critically injured. And that prompts NTSA to kick off the nationwide crackdown in the unroadworthy vehicles to curb the alarming accidents in the country. According to the NTSA Director General, that is George Njau, they're targeting rogue drivers, drunkards, and those overspeeding. Now, moving forward to the ongoing strike, that is the doctor strike that is now entering its 17th day, the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacist and Dentist Union KMPDU has maintained they will not relent on their marches until the government heeds their demands. And among the demands include the implementation of the 2017 collective bargaining agreement, and then there is a speedy posting of intern doctors, that is 30 days after graduating. Immediate recruitment of 20,000 clinical offices and clinical offices to be confirmed as permanent and staff with pensions. The Ministry of Health adherence to 2020 approved internship staff establishment, and of course approval of the career progression and guidelines for clinical officers as well. Join us as we delve into the latest headlines, analyze the key developments, and of course provide insightful commentary on the stories shaping our world today, and stay informed and engage us on the week in focus. Now, as we get into our main discussion tonight on the fake fertilizer fumble, and with me in studio once again is Silas Ruto, who is a Shangi potato ambassador. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Great. So you're an ambassador for the Shangi potato. Tell us more about this variety and what does it mean to wakulima in Kenya?
Okay, Shangi is a potato variety that is loved mostly in Kenyans, and it's good variety. So being called potato Shangi ambassador is something that I've really worked for it for long, and I wanted to expand to greater heights. That's why I've been called potato ambassador. Yes.
I understand you're a farmer that has been contributing greatly to the food security in the country. Tell us more about the farming techniques and how you're handling the current menace.
Of course, as farmers, and mostly of Kenyan Kenyans individuals, we love farming.
Yep.
From subsistence farming to mechanical farming.
Yep.
So it's been a problem.
Yep.
When we talk about the issue of fertilizers. And that's why now we've come to discuss with you to see how we can be able to help local farmers like me.
Yeah, great. Let's start. How do we plant the fertilizers? Like, for example, maybe there are farmers who might need to know how to identify the correct fertilizer. How do we get them planted into our farms?
First of all, our large farmers in Kenya, that we have companies that import fertilizers. We need to know, like we have Yara East Africa, we have Elcon Kenya.
Yep.
So at the moment as Kenyans, we are able to identify which companies are we going to use. There is these traditional companies that has been in existence for long, like for Yara East Africa, made in Norway. We also have the OCPs. So for a farmer, you don't just buy any fertilizer. Just get to know which fertilizer you're using. Yep.
Currently, how do you believe that there is a fake fertilizer in the country? As a farmer who has been in this for quite a while, I know very well that you've been able to use this fertilizer for quite a while, and you're able to identify the fake ones and the legit ones. So where do we get started in this?
The problem with we Kenyans, we've gotten used to what we call 18460 and 2220.
What's that?
So in this one, we have a DAP and then NPK fertilizers.
Okay.
So over a long period, back to 90s, 80s, most of Kenyans have gotten used to the DAPs and the NPKs. So when the government came in, they what we call supplementary fertilizers, subsidized fertilizers.
Yes.
For you to get a subsidized fertilizers, they have to be called, you top up with some nutrients. And that's now the local farmers are not able to understand which one is real and which one is fake. But I could have been able to urge the farmers to get the right fertilizers from the cereal produce board and be able to understand the chemical component of the fertilizer they're buying in. Yes.
Now, with the recent allegations with some farmers from different areas really saying they've experienced the same, from where you see it, what is the status of it?
From where I sit in my farms, we've not experienced the fake fertilizers. The problem has been you find someone who has not been farming, just come to the farm, and because he does not know the chemical composition of the fertilizer, what is inside there, they think just it's only the soil or the rocks. For instance, when we use the DAP, we all know the DAP color is black. And most of Kenyans have been using DAP for long, but the current government is not supplying the DAP. So the local farmers will always think that the fertilizer they're getting is black in color, which is not black in color. Yes, and that's why now I think where the discrepancies is.
Great. The Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, that is Mithika Linturi, says no fake fertilizer that has been reported. But what are some of the common signs and indicators that fertilizer may be counterfeit or even of low quality?
The main issue where I think the government has failed or is trying to have some issues is how we package the fertilizers.
Great.
If, for instance, you see how Yara East Africa packages their fertilizers, Elcon Kenya packages their fertilizers, there's a unique way whereby you package their fertilizers. But now when you come to what the government is being distributing, we have the microbe, we have the NBKs.
Yeah.
So their packaging is not good. It's not common. So I think a farmer, when he comes and buy one fertilizer from the other, he'll be able to know, oh, why is it that the wrong packaging? And then again, I think the government should have come with a uniform packet. Like for instance, Yara East Africa DAP.
Yeah.
The way they package their fertilizers is common, is unique. So as a government, they could have packaged all their fertilizers in one unique way.
Yeah.
Or they could have identified one supplier, be it Yara, be it Elcon Kenya, be it MEA, be it Paraka, be it OCP, such that they are able to know that all the fertilizer we are giving out is OCP. But now they are coming with fertilizer A, fertilizer B, fertilizer C, fertilizer D. So you see the farmer will be having some discrepancies.
Sure.
You can find a farmer in Nyeri, the fertilizer is getting is not the same fertilizer a farmer in Kisumu is getting. But the DAP of Yara of Nyeri is the same as DAP of Yara in Kisumu. And that's, I think, where the government should have done, whereby one packaging. Sure.
Great. You mentioned something to do with the packaging, and I was looking at some of the comments, and farmers are saying, I mean, the government just brings in the good fertilizer, but now where are we not getting it right? Because is it the transportation where we're having the real fertilizer repackaged and distributed to the farmers, or where exactly are we having the gap?
I think where the government should go stricter, for instance, whereby when you're doing our national exams, they distribute all over the country.
Sure.
And you'll find that there are minimal cases whereby they are being altered. So at the moment the fertilizers land in the port of Mombasa, the government should be able to follow to the extent it gets to a local depot. For instance, we have my local depot is in Olengroni.
Okay.
So the moment the fertilizer leaves the port of Mombasa, the government should be able to follow till it reaches the depot. Or the one for Kisumu, the one for Eldoret, the one for Karisa. There should be a follow instead of just leaving to middlemen. We know as Kenyans and as business people, some tend to change on the way.
Sure.
Yeah, so at the moment we need that strict rules should be followed. Yeah.
I remembered something. Yesterday, farmers from Eldoret were actually holding a protest, and they're saying there is insufficient fertilizer from the depot, and some of them are saying that the cargo, that is the consignment that was to be subsidized fertilizer to arrive in Kenya, has been long overdue. So as a farmer, do you think the duration that we are waiting to have the fertilizers in Kenya would really have an impact in the crop production in the country?
Normally, it's between the end of March and the beginning of April, whereby the farmers in the North Rift plant the maize, because Kenyans will love ukali. The bread basket of the region is in the North Rift. So I think somehow, yes, there are some delays, but the government should be able to act quickly, whereby they should be able to provide a lot of fertilizers, whereby all farmers can be able to get. Because I think compared to last year, there's some delays. At least last year they did well, but somehow this year there's some short delays, which is going to affect the farmers.
Great. Maybe have you encountered any specific challenges and consequences as a result of using fake fertilizer? And that is, for example, as a country, in terms of food security, will we be having low production because maybe they're using the wrong fertilizer of low quality?
Personally, I'm a potato farmer. And before we plant, we are able to know which fertilizer are we getting. Because currently we are using fertilizers from Yara and fertilizers from MEA and also from Elcon Kenya. So as a farmer, don't just plant because somebody else is planning. Get to know what the plant needs. I think currently there is no fake fertilizer, but the problem is the way the fertilizer have been subsidized, the chemical composition. You see, like the 23-23-0, that's a nutrient component in the soil, which is going to affect the plant. If you see the way they have been mixed this year, it's not compared to last year. And I think the government should have come in a way whereby they are able to know to make a good chemical composition for the fertilizer such that the production can be good. Because right now, our research is that the maize, the current local farmer produces around 7 bags of maize per acre, which should actually come to 40 bags per acre.
That is of fertilizer.
No, 40 bags of maize per acre production.
Okay.
But right now, normal farmer produces 7 bags. This is due because of the chemical composition of the fertilizer. And I think the government should take education, whereby the Minister of Agriculture should be able to educate our farmers on the right use of fertilizers. The farmer should not just plant because we are planting. The government also should take a role whereby, yes, they are distributing the subsidized fertilizers, which is a good plus. But again, the government should come away whereby farmers are being trained on like maize, which fertilizer are we going to use, on potatoes, which fertilizer are we going to use, on beans. They should not just, because they have collected 2020 serum from the cereal produce board, they just go and plant. Because what maize needs is not what potatoes need.
Sure.
What sugarcane needs is not what coffee needs. So the government should come in a way whereby extension officers should be able to teach our farmers on what type of fertilizer they are going to use in each crop.
We're having some farmers lamenting that that is the subsidized fertilizer that was launched by President William Ruto, there is a low turnout of the fertilizer. Like, for example, you might find a farmer has a 20-acre of land and they want to use that, and then at the end of the day they end up getting 2 bags. From where you sit, how is the distribution supposed to be in terms of, for one to be able to cater for their farm?
I think the government did the registration last year. I think, I'm not sure if the census has come out. Whereby the farmers, where the government goes wrong is like, personally a farmer like me who does huge acreage of farm should be given a good number of bags. And each farmer should actually be audited, whereby instead of farmer A being given 2 bags and farmer B be giving 2 bags, they should be able to consider the acreage. Where the problem comes in, we are Kenyans. We have our expenditure rate is low. So you'll find that maybe I'm doing 10 acres and I want to use 2 fertilizers. And maybe you are using 1 acre and then use 2 fertilizers. So I think the government should bring a lot of fertilizers whereby it should be able to benefit to each household. Yes, instead of capping the rate whereby, like in my region, whereby you just you've been given around 4 bags and you have around 20 acres. It's not enough. They have tried, yes, but at least they need to do more. Yes, because a farmer doing 100 acres should be given enough fertilizers. A farmer doing 2 acres should be given enough fertilizers. Yes. And again, on the productivity, it's about the component of the nutrients of the fertilizers. The government actually should do their research, like that maybe, for instance, going forward, they need to know like which fertilizers are good for maize, which fertilizers are good for potatoes, which fertilizers are good for coffee. That will be able to help the farmers. Yes.
Great. Maybe you could use that camera. There could be a farmer watching us, and then they're worried. How do they access the subsidized fertilizer? They've heard it's been launched, but they don't have any information how they could go about it. Maybe just share some little insight about it.
For instance, I think we have a cereal produce spot all over the country. For instance, in my region, whereby between Narok and Nakuru, we have cereal produce spot. In Nakuru, we have in Olengroni, we have in Elbakon, and we have in Nakuru town. In Eldoret, we have in Eldoret, we have in Kapsapet, we have in Kaiboi, we have in Kipkaren-Selian, so we have in Tarpo. So the farmer should go to a nearby natural and cereal produce board. Register yourself with a local agricultural officer, and you'll be able to pay into the system.
Do they pay anything, or
no,
it's
no,
free
no.
of charge?
No, it's free of charge. It's free of charge. And I think the only issue whereby the government should be able to act is that the officers in the cereal and produce board should be quickly. For instance, the minister came to our local region, I think last week, and our local farmers have been complaining because of mishap in the cereal produce board. So I think the officers working, helping the government, they should hasten up. Instead of making farmers to wait from morning to evening, they should hasten up, because you'll find the local farmers are the only mamas and only papas. So imagine tell somebody to wait from 8 to 6. It's so tiresome. But the moment the government is able to fasten up their speed, farmers will be able to be happy. And then, as Kenyans, we believe that the farmers feeding the nation are the farmers. Yes, without the farmers, the people in Nairobi should not be getting food. So actually, I think the government and the officers working in the cereal board should hasten up the process of issuing the fertilizers.
Great. Now, the issue of fake fertilizer could be addressed or even just mitigated. How do you think maybe it could be mitigated within the industry?
I think the government should, like they did a register of their farmers. For instance, maybe you have around 5 million farmers in the country. They should have been able to know, like, these 5 million Kenyans, they have how many acreage. And then now they do the statistics that each acre needs how many fertilizers. And then when they are importing their fertilizers, they know, like, Kenya, we need like 50 million fertilizers, we need 100 million fertilizers, you see. Another thing also, the government should be able to actually partner with, like, the local distributors, like Yara East Africa, like Elcon Kenya, like OCP, like Baraka Fertilizers, such that whereby they are able to penetrate. For instance, a scenario of Yara East Africa, they are okay, like all over the country. They have done their map out. They are in Mombasa, they are in Nyeri, they are in Kisumu, they are in Eldoret, they are in Narok. So if the government can partner with the companies like that, I think they have people with goodwill, and they'll be able to know to reach the large scale of farmers. Because whereby currently we have many farmers suffering, they don't get access to fertilizers. Not because of knowledge, but because also sometimes the local officer registering the farmers is becoming hectic. Yes.
Now, in as much as the fake fertilizers in the country, it's a story that has been making headlines. What is the impact maybe to those farmers who have been going the organic way?
I think also the main problem of our Kenyan soil, we've been using like the DAPs for long. Our soil has been diluted with a lot of, we have what we call phosphorus and the potassium. So the chemical composition of the soil has been diluted over a period of years. For instance, if you go to Nakuru County, and also if you go to Uasin Gishu, whereby we used to do wheat in the late 70s, 80s, the production has become gradually lower and lower and lower. I think the farmers need to treat their soil. Yes, you can use lime or even use another fertilizer to treat the soil such that the chemical nutrients of the soil is going to improve, and then the food production can be okay.
Great. Now, just winding up, what advice would you give to farmers to avoid falling victim, and especially with the fake fertilizers?
I think farmers should be able, first of all, register yourself with the government through your local agricultural officer. Visit your nearest cereal and produce depot. I think the current regime being led by Ruto and President Ruto and CS Linturi, they have done a great work whereby you need first go register in a cereal and produce spot. I don't think if the government supplied the good fertilizer last year, it's the same government is going to supply fake fertilizer. They will not. The only issue has been the chemical component, which I think the farmers are not able to distinguish. You will find we have what we call right now 23-23-0. You see, so it's not actually what the soil needs. So at the moment, as a local farmer, you come to register in a cereal produce spot, you're able to get a good right quantity of fertilizers.
Great. We are running out of time. Maybe you could just give your parting shot to the farmers who are watching you right now and your final advice to them.
Yes, I think most of Kenyans, we have loved maize. And I think as government, we have what we call the second crop. Personally, passionate with potatoes. So it's a short-term crop, and farmers should not be crying. So even I urge our President Ruto and CS Linturi, they have neglected this crop. Do more about potatoes and these short-term crops. We don't have to rely more on maize. Do with cassava, sweet potatoes, these short-term crops, such that whereby you don't use a lot of fertilizers, and you'll find that the country will be enough food sufficient. Personally, my motto and my aspiration has been to fight hunger and to eliminate poverty in our society.
Great, and that is Silas Ruto, the Shangi Potato Ambassador. Many thanks for coming to the show and sharing more insight on the fake fertilizer puzzle and what farmers really need to know. And much is they're going for the fertilizer, that is the subsidized fertilizer in the country. And that and much more will be coming up next week. We'll be following up and looking at the fate of the NADCO report. Recently, Kimani Ichung'wah says it must be implemented even after the High Court suspended its implementation pending the determination and hearing of a case filed against it. And then another case that we should be following up next week is the state of doctor strike, with clinical officers that is vowing to join the doctor strike that is from officially midnight, that is from tomorrow. And then Oparanya criticizes the Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nahumicha for failing to end the doctor strike. Those are some of the stories that we'll be following up in the coming new week. And of course, see you again at the same time on Sunday to discuss what will have made the headlines throughout the week. My name is John Matava. Many thanks for watching, and those that made this discussion a success, we are saying thank you. Please do have a very fantastic Easter Sunday.